Hi guys, this is Chips. Today I'm gonna make a video about the various traits and skills that Necromancer have. I found that a lot of people are really confused when they are designing a build for Necromancer because the objective is not clear. When you play a thief, for example, the objective is already decided for you. You want to be stealthy, you want to be high maneuverability, you want high damage, right? Typical thief. When you play a mesmer, you want to have a lot of combs to confuse the enemy, you want to shatter the combs. That's your objective and it's already pre-selected for you. When you play as a Necromancer, those objectives you have to decide for yourself. They're not predetermined for you. So that's where a lot of creativity comes in, and that's why I really love the Necromancer. The problem comes though when you have no idea what you want. Like you may be deciding, oh, should I go AoE or should I go single target? This kind of confusion, because when you look at the Necromancer skills, you often people ask, okay, what can this skill do for me? Instead of saying, okay, here's my objective, so what skill should I pick to achieve that objective? And that's why I want to clarify in today's video. So let's begin with the traits. I'm gonna start with the passive traits first. So parasitic bond. The objective of these skills is to get massive healing as you kill tons of enemy in roughly close time intervals. For example, in PvE, when you're slaughtering 5 or 10 mobs at once, that kind of situation, you will get massive healing. And in a world versus world, when it's a serve versus serve battle, people drop like flies, then you will also be getting a lot of healing. The weirdness of these skills is when you're only facing someone one-on-one, and this trait is pretty much useless because like you're not gonna get any healing in the middle of the fight. So the objective of this trait, PvE and world versus world, weak in SPVP. Next trait that we're gonna talk about is Death into Life. Obviously this trait is used for team support healing, since it increases your healing power. So it's going to be useful for a whale bomber with dagger or axe, and then support healing with maybe a whale or blood, that kind of thing. Next up is Serpent Power. I personally think this skill is really weak because you can only get might when you're almost dying. And but that's not the objective of this skill. The objective of this skill is in a 1 versus 1 fight, when it's a tie game, and this skill could give you the difference advantage for you to win that match. But obviously this skill is really weak in a world versus world settings because honestly it won't make any difference for you. So as you can see, as you look at each trait or skill objectively, it's not making sense. Bar Precision. This is one of my favorite passive Necromancer traits because it helped me understand what Necromancer is all about, surprisingly. Because this objective of this trait is to convert critical chance into condition damage. If you look at the objective of it, it's not just to cause bleeding, it's not as simple as that. So what benefit from this trait? When your build have a lot of critical chance and also high condition damage, this is a must-take skill. Furious Demise. These skills give you Fury, which increase your critical chance for 5 seconds as you enter Death Stroke. So yeah, useful for any type of power critical build. It you can use it with a Life Blast, anything pretty much. And I love it because it works really well with Bar Precision. It just goes hand in hand. And Target the Weak, good for a power build that spread out many different type of conditions. Also useful world versus world, where your allies will help you spread those conditions also. But the problem I found with this skill is that it's not really reliable because you have no idea how much condition removal the enemy will have. And this is on a curse knife, which is condition damage, but this actually benefits the power damage, like physical damage instead of condition damage. So sort of a contradiction there. Reanimator, this is probably one of the most useless trait in the whole game because it doesn't have any objective. You want it for extra damage? Well, no, the Juggernaut doesn't survive long enough to do that. You want to help you tank damage? Well, Juggernaut died in seconds, it can't do that either. So for all intent and purposes, this skill is useless. Protection of the Horde, another really useless skill. Firstly, it only works if you are a Mutant Master, but the problem is even if you are a Mutant Master with 5 mutants, it's defense really minimal, only 100 toughness, which just doesn't really help much, unfortunately. And yes, though the objective is defense obviously, but your minion dies randomly so fast, it's not reliable, so this skill is useless. Deadly Strength, obviously a really good trait for minion monster and physical damage like dagger or axe. It just works really well because it increases your power. So Full of Life, very useful trait no matter what build you use pretty much, because it gives you regen every 30 seconds as you're taking damage. And if you have boom duration bonuses, or even if you equip the Wound of the Arena, which give you further 20% longer regeneration, is a really good trait to take. Vampiric allow you to steal life from your foe, since the the damage doesn't scale with the life stealing. It benefits more if you use a fast attack weapon like a dagger, for example. And you can also use this trait to steal life from gates and walls even. So when, let's say in World versus World, where your team is using a catapult against a wall, you can use your this trait to hit damage the wall as a help and damage per second sort of thing. Blood to Power, the objective of this trait is to increase your damage, but obviously this trait is not good at all for that purpose. It's really difficult to keep your health above 90% for the majority of the fight to make this trait useful. And so it's not reliable, and that's why this trait sucks. I think that 90% have to reduce to maybe 66% or maybe even 50% for it to be of any use. GW2 I, this skill help you gain life force further by 10% on all the skills that already gain life force. So for example, let's say your staff, it will gain now 3.3% instead of just 3%. On the other hand, the skills like a mark, if it doesn't gain life force from before, it won't help you any further. So this trait is good for a build that is based on one life force generation. Last Grabs give you a special armor, and with that protection and life force generation if you get hit when you hit 50% health. Not bad for a defensive trait. Strength of the Undeath, pretty good trait if you're going for a high power, high critical chance, death shove, life blast, that kind of build. It works really well if you have lots of skill with life force regeneration, so you can keep it above 50%. So I'm gonna go into the individual traits, the traits that you can select for yourself, customize. Death's Embrace, the only time you find this trait useful is if you are going into lots of SPVP and you find yourself always tying games and losing just barely, and this trait could be the difference maker. But if you ask me, I don't think this is worth investing into at all, because like in World vs World, this won't help you survive anyway, and there's better stuff to help you fight when you're alive instead of preparing yourself to be defeated. I don't think that's a correct mentality, so I don't use it. Spiteful Talisman, if you use Focus, this is good. Spiteful Removal, the objective of this skill of the trait is to remove your conditions. However, I don't think this skill's trait is reliable at all because of the 10 seconds cooldown. When you want to remove your condition, you want a more reliable method, and this is just really random. And so yeah, PvE, SPVP, World vs World is useless in all three of them, so I don't recommend you taking that at all. Signet Mastery, useful if you use the Signet of Undeath to resurrect your allies, but since the other signets are so useless in most cases, I don't recommend you taking this trait either. Spiteful Spirit, pretty useful trait if you are into a high power, because the retaliation scales with your power, your damage. If you are fighting against a bunker, really useful because the bunker will need to hit you multiple times, so he will take a lot of damage. Pretty weak against high blast like Thief or Elementalist, because like one single hit does so much damage to you, you can never get that back from your retaliation, that you cannot damage him back. So Reaper's Might, really good skill, because every single Necromancer build out there use Life Blast. Even if your build is not designed for Life Blast, you end up using that skill anyway, so you get Might from this. And Might benefit both your power, physical damage, and your condition damage. So this trait works for really every single Necromancer build out there, so that's why it's really good trait for any objective that you want to accomplish. Spiteful Marks increase the damage of your marks, but the problem is it only pretty much benefits this skill on 20-second recharge, the Pivot Mark, because that is the physical damage bars, but all the other mark skills pretty much rely on condition damage like bleeding or mouth blood and poison on civilians. So yes, a contradiction, and I personally don't find this useful at all. When you get into marks, you should be aiming for condition damage, not physical damage. Siglet power, because of how long the recharges are on most of the siglets we have, I don't find this trait useful at all. If you want might, you will want to stay with the Whipper's might. Training of the master, really good skill. You are going to a million master because it increase every single damage from your millions, no matter what, by 30%, and that includes the perfect explosion from your bone millions. So very good trait. Chill of Death. This trait is actually bugged because it's activated at 15% health instead of the 25% health as stated, and it will pretty much cast Spinal Shiver on your enemy at that time. It will damage them based and remove their wounds and do extra damage based on how many wounds it removes. I personally don't like the trait because of how low, like 15% health, how low it gets. But if you find, some people may find this useful depending on what they are using this for, and decent skill for, I guess, SPVP. Axe Training. This skill is totally overshadowed, unfortunately, by the next skill next to it, Close to Death, and unfortunately you can pick only one of this. So people will choose Close to Death every time because of the objective. The objective of Axe Training is to increase the damage of your axe, while the objective of the Close to Death is to increase the damage of every single of your skills, either wells or another weapon. So every time the foe drop below 50%, the damage will increase. That's why for that objective, Close to Death is much better than Axe Training. So people always pick, well, you should always pick Close to Death. Now let's move on to curses. Toxic Landing. Well, if you like to jump around a lot and you always fall down to really high paces, I guess this is a useful skill. Maybe leap down to an enemy below to ambush them, world versus world setting, that kind of thing. I personally tried this trait, I just never found it to be that useful, that consistent, so I don't take it. Hemophilia, pretty decent skill for PvE. For SPVP and world versus world, it really depends on how much condition removal the enemy have. Usually the bleed won't last the full duration or even 8 seconds, like on your mark. So yeah, take it if you have spare room on your tray, but I usually recommend that you take something better. Shielding Dartless, really good synergy with the skill Plague, because every time you brand the enemy with your skill number 2 on your Plague, it also shields them. So yes, really good synergy with that. All the enemy will have slow recharge, they run slower and they cannot hit your ally, so really useful skill for world versus world. And also somewhat useful with the Well of Dartless, but not really, to be honest with you. So yeah, mostly that trait is used for Plague. Weakness Shard. I personally find the skill really good for my own objective, and I'll tell you why. I mix this skill, which give me an infuriating blood when I enter a Death Shard, and I mix that with Mark of Evasion, which give me Mark of Blood as I roll. So what I do is when I'm fighting in close quarter combat with an enemy, I would set a target and I'll go in, roll to them, and go in and out of the air. And that give me both Mark of Blood and favoring blood to that foe, and that's 2 extra loot just by the trait, and so that's why I found it really useful for my purpose. Repress Precision, really good trait if you are in the high critical chance, which help you generate life force. Although I personally found that a 33% chance to be way too low, so I personally don't take it as better traits, my opinion. So